Men, what myth about men is 100% untrue and infuriates you when you hear it? Story 1. Daughter to a single dad here. There was this myth I discovered when I was young. It's something almost all my female friends were told, but thankfully not me. The myth is the belief that there are such things as girl business, where only your mother or older females in the family should help you with. As the only girl in the house growing up, my dad helped me understand and deal with a great many girl business problems. Meanwhile, all my friends had their moms to handle it for them. When my friends found out my dad was sort of in charge of handling those with me, they were shocked. They asked me why I didn't have an aunt or grandma to help me instead. Well, my aunts all live at least 10 hours away, and grandma is even further. I began to realize over the years that there might actually be negative side effects to this girls-only way of thinking. Sure, having another female assist you with those issues might be less awkward and embarrassing, but there's already an inherent awkwardness and embarrassment associated with it. Learning to overcome the embarrassment is part of growing up and accepting your body. Furthermore, I have since grown up and began studying psychology and done some research into this further for my studies. I'd have to do a more in-depth and wide-reaching survey and analysis to come to findings. I'd be comfortable with being peer-reviewed, but I have a theory that the girls-only mentality causes relationship issues later in life. Young girls grow up thinking that there are some aspects of womanhood men not only don't understand, but can't understand. It makes them not only less trusting of male partners, but also keeps them from seeing men as equals when it comes to parenting. Sure, if you're a mom of a young girl, there's no reason for you to not continue helping her with all the complex feminine issues she's going through. Just be careful not to make her think her dad doesn't empathize or understand too. Don't make him this distant third party who will never get it, or someone who should not be involved because he has a peen. That's the same toxic female attitude that causes soccer moms to call the cops on a dad when he takes his daughter to the park to play. Men can parent too, and they're surprisingly good at raising young girls on their own. Edit number 1. Thank you to the guys who have sent private messages to say thanks, and to the few who asked for some advice. I wish you the best of luck. Story 2. Get too close to a child and you are automatically branded a pedophile. I work as a low-tier manager in a toy store, and even though I have a company t-shirt and name tag, people still ask me if I work there. People still look at me weird when I'm going around the store doing whatever. It's sometimes hard to ignore. I just hope people will understand that working at my dream job doesn't mean I want to do stuff for their kids. It hurts sometimes. I used to eat my lunch at a local lake that has a park next to it. I would park facing the lake with the park behind me. I just sat in my car, listened to podcasts, and ate my lunch. One day, a lady called the cops on me for being suspicious and said she was afraid for her children's safety. Luckily, the cop was cool and told the lady I was free to eat there since it was a public place, but I didn't really want to risk getting a not cool cop in the future, so goodbye calming lake, hello depressing parking lot. I appreciate the support. I'm going to go ahead and start going again. I shouldn't really have let one incident over several years of eating there deter me, but it just made me really anxious. Story 3. That we're all not interested in or incapable of being involved in the planning of our weddings. I cannot tell you how many comments like, "Remember, it's her day, not yours," I received during the 2-year lead up to our wedding. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'd been looking forward to getting married since I was 12 or something, but I took an active interest together with my wife in the planning of our wedding. It's not my day, it's hers. Frick that, it was our day. We planned it together. Her vision definitely brought it all together, and she did a freaking amazing job, but she didn't just make decisions on her own. We talked together about and worked together on every single thing involved in the event, and we were both ecstatic with how it turned out. It turned out beautifully. I try not to toot my own horn very often, but I never thought the best party I'd ever go to would end up being my own. My own parents, who are in an incredible, cooperative, supportive, happy married relationship, and are the best parents I could have possibly asked for the record, gave me grief about this sort of thing when I was telling them that if and when I get married, I want a smaller, not exorbitantly expensive wedding. They both, especially my dad, insisted that my hypothetical fiancé would be the one calling all the shots. Now that I type it out, I have to wonder if that's them perpetuating the stereotype or calling me spineless. Story 4. That we cannot parent as well as a woman. That we need a random woman to come hold a man's child because they're crying. That we are babysitting when our spouse isn't with our babies. Yeah, that stereotype is so dang dumb. I mean, I changed thousands of diapers, and it never bothered me once. I was perfectly capable of dressing my kids. I know how to open a jar of baby food. I wash and hang my kids' school uniforms. I'm not looking for a prize, but I'm also not looking to be treated like I'm an idiot. I'm a nurse, and before that, I was a nurse's aide working in a nursing home, changing adult diapers every day. One day, I was at a restaurant holding my daughter when I realized that she had a dirty diaper. I handed her to my wife so I could extricate myself from the booth, when a woman at the next table made that disappointing tsh noise and said, "Typical." I stood up, took my daughter back along with the diaper bag, turned to this woman and said, "Please, lady, I'm a nurse. I've changed the diapers of people bigger than you." And I went off to the bathroom. Story 5. Men just wait around for a woman to inform them that they are now dating. I'm not trying to claim that women come up to me in bars especially often, but on the rare times they do, there's a definite sense of, I am under no obligation to actually attract you as a mate. I exist and am female, and therefore by default you want to date me. Once when I tried to politely decline, the woman chastised me in the bar for 5 minutes, demanding to know what my excuse was, what reason I could give her. She simply assumed that the default was that I, as a man, want to date any woman, and that I have to justify not being attracted to a specific one. Had a woman approach me in the bar the other night, and about a minute into the conversation, I let her know very matter-of-fact that I needed to be somewhere, so I wasn't hanging around. She just stopped and said, "You don't fancy me?" I said, "Sorry, I've got to go." Crosses my mind now just how confused she looked. Story 6. Not sure if it counts as a myth, but most TV portrayals. The guy's an idiot and depends on his wife for literally everything. It's annoying and played out. I don't know anyone close to my age that lives like that. Quick edit, I do know plenty of old people that do in fact live like those portrayals, or did before their respective divorces in some cases. Homer Simpson was always a bit of an idiot, but he always sacrificed everything for his family and worked hard to provide for them. But now they just write him like he's some worthless bum who does nothing and is a burden to everyone around him. If any of the newer Simpsons writers are reading this, F you, you suck. Story 7. That dads are dopey morons barely capable of caring for themselves, let alone their kids. My girlfriend of almost 9 years made a joke like this in front of her friends after we started living together. The first time, I let it slide, because I wasn't sure what she meant. I asked in private, and she didn't know. She just said it. The second time, I stopped and said, "Who's the one that goes grocery shopping for healthy meal preps that you end up wasting? Who does 90% of the cooking? When was the last time you cleaned the counter, let alone the toilet?" She's never brought it up since. I've met dudes that complain about this, but then use it as an excuse to be lazy. If I did that, we'd be living in filth, and I just don't have that in me. Story 8. That we miss signs that women give them because they are stupid. We see them, but we don't want to be creepy or jump to conclusions, or we are not interested. This 1,000 times over. I used to pick up on signals and not act on them for 2 reasons. 1, low self-esteem. 2, I was terrified of taking something the wrong way and getting trapped in a situation where the girl would actually not have been flirting. There's any number of bad outcomes if a girl does something you think is flirting. For one, obviously, she could call you a creep for coming on too strong since you already thought she liked you. For another, maybe you just don't want that one last blow dealt to your self-confidence. It's a tricky situation. Story 9. Oh man, where do I start? I was a stay-at-home dad for 2 years. The sheer volume of Karens at parks and playgrounds used to drive me up a wall. They were always dumbfounded when I didn't need their help. Yes, I can change a diaper, probably faster than you can. Yes, I have snacks, celery, carrots, and a little ranch. Yes, I have drinks, water bottles, and juice boxes. Yes, I have lunch, chicken cutlet sandwiches. No, we didn't buy them at the deli. I can actually cook. No, I don't need wine. It's 10 a.m., Karen. Get a freaking grip. Story 10. That we are not afraid of walking alone through a dark car park at night. After a great deal of asking everyone, from police to self-defense instructors to a Green Beret and a bunch of combat vets to the most cracked-out gun nuts, not met a single person who had no fear. Because having fear is healthy. If you aren't afraid of anything, you're just a freaking idiot with no real-world experience. What distinguishes the people you mentioned is their ability to overcome fear and function decisively when they need to. Story 11. I'm not a male myself, but I hope it's okay for me to comment. It really annoys me when people say that men cannot be graped, because if they got a hard-on, they must have wanted it. Stuff like that causes men to not report grapes and makes them feel like crap about themselves. Anyone can be graped, no matter age, gender, or if the grapist is married to them. No means no. It is as simple as that. He was hard, so it wasn't grape, is easily matched with she was wet, so it wasn't grape. Too many people have a serious lack of understanding of how the human body works. Story 12. That if we like children but don't have children of our own, we are automatically given, at the very least, a little grilling, if not straight out asked if we're a pedophile. I like dogs too, for pretty similar reasons. Nobody ever asks me if I make love to dogs. Are you a dog lover? Well, thank you for asking. No, I'm not. Well, at least not anymore. Surprisingly bitey. Story 13. It's getting better now, but back in the day, basically every guy on TV was a sports-obsessed, motorcycle-loving, beer-swilling moron who couldn't function without his wife to look after him and the kids. My wife went away last week for work, and I'll have you know that only half my kids got eaten by wolves. You did your best, man. Wolves always hunt in packs, so you were probably outnumbered. Plot twist, he only has one kid. Well, half of one now. Story 14. Me having big feet only means that I wear big shoes. And seriously, what makes girls think that they can just come up to you and ask about it? If he's got big feet, ears, nose, etc., he better be packin', 'cause that's one funny-looking dude. Badly paraphrased Jeff Foxworthy. If those three were true, feet, nose, and ears, I'd be hung like a horse. Unfortunately, I'm not. Story 15. Men who work at a daycare are pedophiles. Every year there are people who complain that I work there. Meanwhile, the women working at daycare aren't even watched and get away with casual child abuse. I knew one colleague who drank alcohol in work, and last time I reported it, I got a warning about a snitch on a colleague that wasn't accepted. That is when I went to another daycare. Story 16. Just because I have a dong and you have a vagina doesn't mean I'm trying to get in your pants. I want friends just like anyone else. But when I try to talk to people, like my guy friends, they assume I'm trying to date them. No, I just like asking my friends how they are because I hate people who only talk to you when they want something. So I talk to everyone as a show of you are my friend, not the services you offer. This makes making friends as adults hard. The worst is when they say, I have a husband. Cool, but I just want you as a friend. Story 17. Men can't be abused by women. Or that men can get assaulted and harassed by other men. I've had some very pushy gay men approach me, one going as far as trying to touch my butt and my dong inside my underwear after I said like 3 times that I'm straight and not interested. Luckily, the woman I was out with immediately chastised that guy. But to be honest, guys laugh at me when I tell that story and talk about how badly they would have beaten him up. Women who I've told always reacted shocked and emphatic. Story 18. That men find it normal to cheat and brag about it. Any man who cheats on someone loses my respect instantly. Same goes for women, and I'm sure my feelings are shared by most guys. I don't understand why people assume that. Story 19. If a woman physically assaults a man, he somehow must have done something to deserve it. This gets even worse in those cases where male victims of domestic abuse are getting arrested in case the police get called, even though they are the victims and not the attacker. I called the cops once on an abusive ex who had threatened to end her own life as a way to manipulate me to stay with her. When they arrived, they treated me like I was the criminal. Story 20. That we can never not be in the mood, and if we're not, we must be sick or cheating. I had an ex who pushed for intimacy while I had a tube coming out of my back to drain my kidney and was on opiates that made it nearly impossible for me to finish. She got hers, though. Did you end her life? Story 21. Or lack of physically visible arousal, meaning we don't. Sad face. There's nothing more demoralizing than that. And then you start to worry that it will happen, and then you seem to feel it happening, so you worry even more, and then it actually starts going down. So now you can't think of anything else, and you're willing it to go up, and the night is ruined. Story 22. No, I'm not going to a strip club. No, that doesn't mean I'm gay. See also Hooters. That place sucks, and the last 2 times I was dragged there, I had beer spilled on me by the waitstaff because they hire based on flirting instead of the ability to actually serve the freaking food. Story 23. We are all unable to control our nature to have intimacy. Believe me, if I couldn't control myself, you'd have noticed by now. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, and my mom raised us by saying that all men ever want is one thing, and they will do anything to get it, even grape children. We are all deeply paranoid of men and hypervigilant parents and have really messed up relationships, and holy crap, I'm having a revelation. Story 24. I really hate how fruity drinks are associated with women. Like, dang, can I just enjoy my strawberry daiquiri? I always order fruity frozen drinks, and my wife always orders beers. Half the time the waiter gives me the beer instead. Nobody scoffs when a dude's got a kick-butt Slurpee, but as soon as you add some rum, it's a girl's drink? Go away. Story 25. Men can't multitask. Every time I hear that, I have to stop what I'm doing so I can get angry. Oh, that's a good one. But actually, no one's really a good multitasker. We all just think we are. Mythbusters tested it, I think. Story 26. Showing emotion is a weakness. It isn't. We have just as many emotions as women, and our emotions are just as valid. I just bottle mine up, then have major breakdowns every 6 months. I don't know if it's healthy, but it's efficient. Story 27. Real men don't have emotions. Yeah, go to hell. Or that the only acceptable emotions are anger, rage, and mad. Story 28. Men think about doing it every X amount of seconds. I'm a grown man with a life. I have more to think about than intimate stuff. Agreed. I also just thought about doing it. Story 29. If you expose us to radiation, we gain superpowers. In reality, this has only happened a few times, and most men would just perish. So you're saying there's a chance. Story 30. The whole men think about doing it every seconds thing. If you think that's true, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. Is the bridge attractive, though? Story 31. Men can't show emotion in public unless it's anger or greed. Or lust. Lust is just a peen's greed. Story 32. If I'm with my daughter, I'm not babysitting, I'm being a father. I'm sick of this one. I'm a stay-at-home dad of 2 girls. It must be your day off. No, it's my job. Story 33. There are plenty of fish in the sea, just get over it. Frick you, I like that fish, even if it was kind of mean and cruel. Story 34. Men are worse communicators than women. Really depends on the man and the woman.
Click on one of the videos you see on the screen now, or a Karen will sue you.